Showtime? It's showtime. How you guys doing today? Check in with some of you guys. You guys good? All right, good. Yeah, I've had a great day today too. So my name's Kevin Brandon. I am the host of a TV show called Real Anglers Fishing Show. I started a nonprofit called Real Guppy Outdoors about 7 years ago. I'm from Port Hueneme. You guys ever been to Port Hueneme Pier before to fish? Well, you've been to Port Hueneme Pier?
Yeah.
Isn't it cool? That's so cool. I even put a tattoo on my back. That's how dedicated I am to Port Hueneme Pier. But now I get to teach classes off of that pier and do fishing. I started my YouTube channel probably 12 years ago. I went back to Oxnard College at 28 years old to be a filmmaker. I started working on boats when I was 11 years old. I always said when I grew up I wanted to be a teacher. And when I grew up through school, I had my own little learning curves. Actually, I have a really cool story to tell you guys. I hope I make it do it without crying. So I went to this school. I was in a foster home, and I lived right here on the avenue. And I was in 3rd grade, and they said that I wasn't up to grade level, and they put me back in the 2nd grade. So I actually flunked the 3rd grade back into 2nd grade. When I took the proficiency test in high school, in 7th grade and 5th grade, or 7th grade and then the 5th, I didn't do very well on that either. So academically, I needed help, right? But I always wanted to be a teacher. Man, when I grew up, I wanted to be a teacher, but then you think, oh man, with the way my learning curve is, how am I going to become a teacher? But look it, I'm in here teaching, right? I went back to school at 28 years old to make a film TV show, and I wanted to have an educational TV show that talked about where we live at. You guys ever been to the Channel Islands? Anybody? You ever see the islands from out here?
We're gonna go in 5th grade. Yeah.
Right? That's cool, man. So if you watch like Discovery Channel and National Geographic, a lot of the stuff that they show in California, like whales migrating and sharks and stuff like that, a lot of it's filmed right here in our backyard. And a lot of the kids and adults that live in our area haven't even been there. You have a national park 9 miles off the coast with all this abundance of wildlife and all kinds of cool stuff. So when I started my TV show, I wanted it to be based on more education and talk about nature and stuff like that. So that's what I did. Moving it along a few years later, when we were filming for the TV show on the pier, I gave my kids a camera and they would film for the TV show. We called it the Guppy camera. And that's how we got the term Real Guppies. So here we are today, 13 years later, teaching. I didn't think I'd be able to because of my learning curve. And the reason that I say that, when we go through this workbook right now and we're doing fishing stuff, we're going to talk about asking for help, okay? Because some of us might be shy to ask for help. But tomorrow when we're fishing, if you don't know how to bait your hook, how many people have been fishing before?
I've been.
What'd you catch?
I catch a really cool fish, and the fish is a tiny fish off a place, and it has on its fins. You know where how fishes have those like fins at the top?
Yep.
Well, our fish that we mostly catch, you don't want to touch those, or the back fins.
Yep.
All the fins you don't want to touch. Only the back fin, not the 2 fins that are underneath and upside.
Yep.
It was the back fin.
Did you eat it?
Well, we put in the and one died.
Oh, okay. Anybody else ever been fishing before? Catch a fish? You? Where at? Yeah.
I didn't catch. Well, I went fishing before, but I didn't catch one. It was hard.
Yeah, it's kind of hard. Okay. You?
So one time I went fishing, and my dad caught this fish, and it like had a fin on its back, but not on its belly, and I didn't want to touch it because its fin kind of a little cut me, so I like pushed it down the water like on its belly, so
Okay.
that I don't like get stabbed by that fin again.
So we got to be cautious. All right. So that's why our book right here, one of the reasons we call it Catch a Memory. You have a story? Go ahead. Oh yeah? So that's why our book's called Catch a Memory, not called Catch a Monster, because you're going to catch memories out there. You might see dolphins, whales tomorrow, sea lions, but if you never fished before, some of you guys are going to need some help. And that's what we're going to talk about a little bit through fishing. And my own story a little bit about me overcoming my learning curves, because some of you guys might face some of those similar problems with reading and spelling, confidence. So we're going to talk about some of that today. I'm just going to wrap it up with fishing. do my TV show, being able to have a platform to showcase it, it kind of gives me an opportunity to highlight me being an entrepreneur. Any of you guys ever had a lemonade stand before? Any of you guys ever sell lemonade? Being your own boss? Yeah, I encourage that. You have a way to, become your own little entrepreneur at a young age. That's what I used to do when I was little too. Grew up in motels and living out in the streets and stuff like that. I had to generate my own funding and a lot of problem solving. And that's another thing about fishing. Some of it's about problem solving. Tomorrow, you might have some problems. How do you bait your hook? How do you cast your fishing pole? We're going to pull up crab nets tomorrow. All kinds of neat stuff, okay? And we're going to be there to help you. No, we'll be on the pier. Yay. Go ahead.
What?
You want to come up? All right, come on. Come on.
So when I remember one of my fun memories, like when I was little, I went fishing and I didn't know how to catch a fish. And you know what happened?
What happened?
My grandpa taught me. So he taught me this one thing. So you know how you hold a fishing rod?
Uh-huh.
Well, you see those circle with this.
Yep,
Now
other way.
you're supposed to reel it in. But you don't want to reel it in. You probably are struggling to reel it in. Sometimes you have to wiggle it. If it's really small, it will just probably let go. It will nibble. But if you're lucky, you can catch some big monster fish. Yes?
All right, I'll take it from here. Thanks, man. What's your name?
What?
Wyatt? All right, Wyatt. He's right. Okay, go ahead. Yeah. Got one more show, then I'm going to get back to the book. Go ahead.
So catching a fish should be a little bit easy, but sometimes hard. So you don't want to lose something on it.
Right?
It's about catching fishes, and you really don't want to lose it. So if I went fishing, I told my friend, oh, how do I do this? She'd teach me. She'd say, oh, you have to spin this. And then if I catch a fish, with any type of fish, probably clownfish.
Yep. All right, I'll take it. Thank you. All right, so let's go ahead and go through our book. Go ahead. You want to show one last one? All right, this is the last one, okay? Come on. I don't like to do a lot of teaching and boring you, so we're going to have a little engagement, a little excitement, okay? Go ahead. That's good that you guys are all, half of the crew in here is a professional, so tomorrow you should be doing just great. You're not supposed to go backwards, though. Go ahead.
Whenever you have a fish, and if it's tugging, you have to reel it in.
Well, if it's tugging, let me help you out. So you actually have a drag lever right here on the top. So when you're fishing, let's jump ahead real quick, okay? Look on page 4. Everybody turn the book to page 4, okay? Now, the cool thing about when you're out in the ocean fishing, especially where we live at, and we talk about habitat and ecosystem, is that you might catch a big fish. We've been fishing on the pier using our small gear, bigger than this, but not too much bigger, and we hook into these leopard sharks. So this little drag mechanism right here, if the fish does pull it, they're tugging real hard, you can kind of play tug-of-war with the fish, and the drag will pull itself out so that you can tire the fish out. And that's the cool thing about the ocean, is you never know what you're going to catch. We do have certain kind of fish. Hold on. So let's look at that page real quick, okay? Look at page 4. Where am I? We'll talk real quick about ecosystem and habitat, okay? So, you guys ever been to the beach walking around and feel those little crabs on the bottom of your feet?
Yeah.
Little sand crabs, right? So they're going to be in the first area where sees number 1, right? And that's where you're going to find your sand crabs. Well, where they're at, might find the perch. And then where the perch live at, you might find the leopard sharks and the halibut that eat the perch. So you have an ecosystem. Something starts out small, eating the little sand crabs, and then the bigger fish come along and eat them, and then a bigger fish comes along to eat them, and then we come along and eat all of them, right? For the most part. Meaning that some of these fish that you see here have to have a certain size limit we're going to talk about in a little bit. Like the halibut that I really love to eat a lot, it has to be 22 inches to keep. But if you hook a big halibut, like yesterday we caught a 30-pounder on my boat, and it takes off drag, running, and it can happen. I've seen some of the biggest fish eat the smallest piece of bait. 60-pound white sea bass eat a piece of squid this big. And I've seen small fish like the bass, the calico bass, this big, eat a bait that's this big because they're predators and they just attack, okay? So if you do catch a bigger fish than your rod can handle, then you can fight it with the drag. And that's what's cool about the ocean. If you go fish the lake,
Mostly sometimes when you catch a fish, you're actually catching something that you can probably use in the future. Like if you save a fish, you can use it for food, bait, or even pets.
yep. So he's at a point, okay? So tomorrow when we're fishing, we're what we call recreational fishermen, okay? Recreational fishermen meaning that we're out using a fishing pole and a hook and a weight. The fish that we catch tomorrow, we're either going to use for bait, we're going to eat, or we're going to let go, okay? But what he means by that is we don't waste anything. We don't just catch fish and torment them and stab them in the face, stuff like that. We're going to make sure there's something called species identification. So again, if we catch this halibut, see that big halibut right there? Has to be a certain size, we identify it, and we know that it's 22 inches. The scientists know that by 22 inches, that fish has had a couple of times to breed and have other little baby halibuts, so that way when you guys grow up, that there's going to be some halibuts still there, okay? So again, we're not going to, anything that we catch tomorrow, we get that question a lot. Hold on, buddy, you've asked a couple questions. Hold on, okay? If you guys can bring them home, that's up to your guys' school. As long as they're the right size limit, and you're going to eat it, you guys can bring it back. Or we're going to use it for bait. Like the mackerel that's on there works really good for bait if we catch some of those. Sometimes we cut those up and use them for bait as well, okay? All right, so that's a little bit about species. Let's jump back to the first page, okay? Let's go to page 1. I'll read it out loud for us, okay? It says, let's go fishing. There's something magical that happens when we're out on the open water. Whether you're fishing on the piers, traveling on a boat, or out on the beach, there's a place for you to set up and explore your own world of fun. With this activity book, you will learn how to become a guppy ranger with Real Guppy Outdoors in the matter of no time. You'll be ready to explore the great outdoors and connect with nature. Get ready to dive into the fun world of fishing. So you guys can color the little silhouette however you guys want. These are your guys' books. You guys all get to keep these, okay? So you guys can color your silhouette whatever way you want, all right? Next, we're going to go down the angler checklist. So the name of my TV show is called Real Anglers Fishing Show. And an angler just means fishing. Have you guys ever seen an angler fish? They're like the little fish that has a little lure on its forehead, and it lures in fish. You seen it? Oh, you do? Oh, that's cool. Bring it tomorrow. Let me see it. Okay?
It's horrifying.
That's okay. All right, so first we're going to start out tomorrow with our fishing pole, okay? Everybody's going to get a fishing pole to use tomorrow. You're going to get a tackle. We'll have a tackle box. That's what you keep all your hooks and your weights and your bobbers and your lures in. We're going to have 3 different types of bait. We're going to have mackerel, squid, and anchovies. And maybe some sardines in there too, okay? We'll have 3 types of bait. Hold on, buddy.
Eat the sardines.
If you want to. Yeah, go ahead. How do you like your sardines? On crackers and the red sauce? Yeah. Good. We have a bucket, life jacket. We're going to talk about safety real quick. There's 2 places you don't want to hear the word oops, okay? One of them is the operating table. Could you imagine being an operating table and you hear the doctor say oops? That's not good. And the other one's the ocean, right? We want to make sure that you guys go in with all the eyeballs and your fingers and the ears that you guys bring. So tomorrow, just be careful, okay? We're going to let you guys cut bait your own hook, casting. So just be vigilant on what's going on out there behind you and around you. And please respect our equipment as well, okay? Don't be playing sword fights with it, things like that. Make sure you respect our equipment. Go ahead.
What happens if there's a fish that is stronger than you and like it's stretching?
Stronger than me?
No, like
Oh.
that one of us. Like and it like starts pushing you like
I'm going to grab your ankles first so that it doesn't pull you over the ocean, okay? That's what we do for the little guys. Hold on to your ankles, all right? And then that drag that's on there, the fish will run. It could happen. So that's why I was saying earlier, you have a drag lever, so if you do get a big one, it can pull line without, and you play tug of war, it tires it out.
Wait.
And we're going to fight it though, right? If you got a big fish, we're going to do everything that we can to get that fish to the pier.
What if it's so fast and when you stop to check your phone and then the fish just swims and we're still holding on, then we just like ski on the water.
Maybe. You never know. Again, if you're fighting a fish, I've done it because I have sponsors for my TV show, right? So I got this halibut, I'm at the island. And I'm like, let me get this on video so that way I can showcase, a picture of this jig that's on there. And then I lost the fish. So if you're fighting a fish, you should probably concentrate solely on fighting that fish and not playing on your phone. Wait till you get the fish on the pier, and then you take a picture for Instagram. Okay? All right? What's up, buddy?
If I bring my grandpa's bait, promise that you won't throw it in the ocean.
I won't throw it in the ocean.
If any of you throw it in the ocean, you are not using it. And that's worms.
You got to bring the worms? He's got worms. Yeah, that worked last time. This one little kid, we weren't catching any fish. He brought night crawlers, and the only kid that caught a bullhead. He caught him on a night crawler.
And if I catch one of you throwing worms,
Are you bringing enough for everybody to share, or are you bringing your own worms?
everybody
Okay.
can share.
Okay, good.
I also will bring big worms in case if you're really behaving.
All right.
And that catches bigger worms, bigger fish.
Yeah.
Last time, my cousin caught a fish so big that it pushed its friends.
Really? Where are you going? Where are you going, buddy? Where you going, what? Why I want to be on YouTube real bad, huh? Say hi. Go ahead.
And the fish was ginormous. It
How
was
big?
like
I love fish stories. Go ahead.
it was this big with just a juicy worm. Please don't laugh, okay?
All right, let's take a seat, buddy, so we can finish, okay?
With the worm,
Well, it's funny because
I caught a fish.
the logo for my TV show is a worm. Actually, it's a worm catching a fish. Because normally the fish eats the worm, but in our case, against all odds, the worm's catching the fish. So something about the worms and night crawlers are very symbolic. All right. So sunscreen's on there too. If they want to bring sunscreen and dress in layers, that's something that we recommend. Because you guys live on the coast here. It could be June gloom 1 second and then hot in no time. So bring like your sweater if you want, dress in layers. Bring snacks. Something about fishing gets you hungry. We usually always have like sunflower seeds, pork rinds, beef jerky. That's mandatory. But again, as long as your school approves it, like don't show up with like tortas unless you bring me one. But whatever your snacks are that are convenient in your backpack, feel free to bring them so you have some on the pier.
Oh, my grandma just brings me snacks.
Your who?
My grandma.
She brings you snacks?
No,
No?
none.
Oh dang! Who brought you the snacks you're eating right now?
From snack.
From the snacks at school?
Over
Okay.
here.
Okay. Well, if you guys want, again, just something to bring. Okay, if you guys want to bring snacks, what's up, buddy? Yeah, as long as I think if you bring something small, don't bring the big old bag of Takis, just a smaller bag should be fine. But again, make sure you run it through your instructor because you'll be like, well, Kevin said, and then like, yeah, if you're going to bring,
Make sure it fits in your lunch pack, right, guys?
All right, so then that's it. Dress in layers. You don't need a fishing license, okay? So one of your activities that you guys can do in your activity book later, or if you want a minute right now, you could try to draw the lines. Go ahead and read these real quick and try to match up the different ones: the bait, the bobber, the fly, the line. Go ahead and spend a minute. You guys have them pencils, right? Hello? You have pencils, right? Yeah. So go ahead and spend a minute trying to do the activity, okay? Go ahead. See if you need any help. Let's see. Which one do you think is the bait? You talked about the worm, right? So let's see which one it is.
Of the one. Are you actually on?
Yep. We're filming.
Are you actually gonna put it on YouTube?
Yep.
Of you in the classroom?
Yep. Me in a classroom. We're gonna film tomorrow too.
You're bald.
I'm shaved.
Oh.
I shaved my head.
Oh. My grandpa.
I have real nappy curly hair and I don't like to deal with it, so I shave. Whoa, be careful. All right, 30 more seconds, all right?
What? What? Line? The line? I don't know what the line is. The year?
We got about 30 more minutes. I'll keep you guys entertained, okay?
30?
Yep. Come on, you guys are doing great. Let's see if we got any winners over here. Let's take a look. All right, you got the bait. That's good. Oh, you colored yours in blue? I like the blue. Let's see what you got over here. So bobber, the bait, line, flies. Real? Give me 5 seconds. No, good job. All right. Let's see.
I need a snack.
Yep. 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 You got it. He's got them all over here. Good
And
job.
lots of snacks.
Good job, all right? Let's keep it moving, okay? Let's see how you guys did. All right, so let's go to the next page, okay? So my favorite thing when I was a little kid, my grandma used to give me highlights for children's books and in Mad Lib. So when I created this workbook right here, that this is the book I created, I put some of those in there, okay? So if you look at that first word, conservation, can you guys find that word? Conservation. It's the biggest word in there, conservation. Next page, buddy. Go on to the next pages. Page 3.
Found it.
All right, you see it? Conservation?
I found it. Christina, where did you put it?
Yeah.
Yep. I found it. We both find it.
All right, go ahead and circle it. So we're going to talk about conservation for a minute, okay? So conservation, again, that just means that, like he brought it up, Wyatt said that if you catch a fish, they either eat it or use it for bait. For this particular thing, we're going to talk about responsible fishing practices, okay? Who's responsible in here? You guys all responsible?
Yeah.
Anybody? Who's responsible for doing their homework? Right? Who's responsible?
Homework.
Well, why do you keep yelling? Do you raise your hand or you always just yell out like that?
Raise my foot.
Yeah, there you go. But some of these things we're gonna yell out together as a team, okay? So conservation and responsible meaning that, let's say you have such a great, what's your name again? Right here. Kylie. Let's say you grow up and you like fishing, right? Like, man, this was so much fun when I grow up, I want to go fishing with my kids. If we conserve certain fish and certain fish species, when you grow up, there'll be halibut there for the next generation, okay? So if we catch certain sizes like the leopard shark, has to be 36 inches to keep. We're gonna measure it and make sure it's 36 inches and determine whether or not we want to keep it or throw it back, okay? Same with the halibut and the calico bass. Now, if you see 1, 2, 3, and 4, those are the habitat areas, okay? Any of you guys seen Finding Nemo?
Yeah.
Remember they were staying on the little rock pile to hide from the barracuda on number 4? So that's your structure. That's where big fish come in to look for small fish. That's where small fish hide. That's where octopus live.
What about the kelp forest?
The kelp forest is where you find your calico bass, some of your perch, your mackerel, sea bass. Because again, some smaller fish might hide in there. Number 4?
I know.
That's the rock formation. So you might
What
find
about
bass
one?
there.
What about one?
Hold on, let me finish answering your question first, okay? So you have the rock pile, and that's where you're going to see the bass that come in and mackerel, but they're there hiding. And number 1, we talked about earlier with the sand crabs. So when you're walking along the beach and you follow those little sand crabs, so those are your different habitats, all right, in your ecosystem. So when we're fishing, if we find where those areas are at, whether it's in a lake or in the salt water, you're more likely to catch fish, okay? So it's very important to target the kind of fish that you are with the bait and also where they live. So think about the ocean and the desert, okay? In the desert, it's really hard to live. There's not a lot of resources, right? So you might find a rattlesnake, a vulture, a scorpion, not too many, but if you've ever been to have you ever seen a rainforest on TV? There's thousands of animals that live in there. Monkeys, jaguars, tigers, bugs, snakes, birds. There's tons of things that live there. And that's kind of like fishing. If you find where they're living at, you find the habitat versus miles and miles of just sandy seafloor, then you're more likely to catch fish, okay? So tomorrow we're going to try to find those areas that are in our, to fish in, okay? All right, let's jump over to the next page, page 5.
No, but she said for us.
Page 5. You guys on page 5?
Yep.
Not everybody. All right, so we're going to talk about what's wrong. I'm going to give you guys 2 minutes to circle what's wrong, the difference between page 5 and 6. And this is about stewardship. This is about making sure we don't throw litter and trash out there, okay? So go ahead and over to page 5 and 6 and find the differences between what's wrong. There's 10 things that are wrong on page 5, different than page 6, okay? So go ahead. You got them all already? Cool, man.
Finished.
What happened, Wyatt? What's going on? Got them all in there?
I was worried where I found something and my brain felt overwhelmed.
Okay, what was that?
Can I go to the camera?
Sure, go to the camera.
I got a quick story for you. So, you know that you find junk on the lakes and beaches? Well, last time we found a weird junk that actually our grandpa let us keep. It was so cool that it was on the boat, and that was a fruity that you had to buy, and we kept it. It was junk, finders keeper, keepers weepers, because it was stuck, and I managed to get it unstuck with my friend.
You gonna
Oh,
bring
my
grandpa?
cousin.
You bring your grandpa tomorrow? Invite Gramps out there. All right, let me take over. Go back to your seat real quick. Thanks.
Thank you, Wyatt.
Thanks, Wyatt. All right, so there's a quick question real quick, all right? Let's go back to page 4. What was your question?
Oh, me? Are all the fishes on the fourth page edible?
Yep, so she asked us, everything on this page is edible. And my answer is yes. If you could eat a Flaming Hot Cheeto or that mystery meat from McDonald's and a Big Mac, you could eat any fish pretty much. Okay? There are, yeah, pretty much. Yeah, well, there's some venomous. Hold on, listen. There's some venomous fish that if you do eat them, you could get a toxic reaction. So that's why I say most of them. Okay. But what I talked about earlier, as far as responsible fishing practice, as long as the fish is of the right size limit, you could take it home and eat it. Now, let's say fish and chips, halibut is great for that. Sea bass, calico bass, vermilion, mackerel. People use a lot for like sashimi. A lot of cultures and different ethnicities kind of primarily will eat certain fish that maybe some people don't, you know? So like some people think mackerel is kind of oily, but some people like oilier fish. But as far as can you eat it, it's one of the most healthiest sources of food that you could take in. And where we live out in the Channel Islands, we have such a diverse ecosystem between kelp patties and rock piles that you get all these array of fish. Where we live at, you have a northern current that comes down, a cold current, and you have the warm current that meet right at our Channel Islands. So you get things like yellowtail, dorado, salmon, all kinds of species of fish in our backyard. So you could be eating fish for weeks all different ways. Fried, ceviche, tacos, sushi. There's all kinds of cool ways to eat the fish that come through our backyard. So the question was, again, as long as you, like one of the things with fish to eat them, if you go to our YouTube channel, we show you how to cook barracuda. So the important thing is how you take care of your fish. If you catch it, you don't want to leave it out in the sun to get all mushy. You want to put it on ice and keep it cool. And then if you eat it within a few days, it's just fine. So that's why I say we practice it, because we want you to know that you can catch these fish. Remember we talked about the size limit, so you know that they've had a chance to breed, and take them home and harvest them and eat them, and know that there's still going to be some fish there tomorrow, okay? There's nothing cooler than growing your own vegetables, catching your own fish, and then preparing it and enjoying it, okay? So we want to make that clear. So we're like, oh my God, you guys keep the fish? Yeah, only the ones that are the right size limit and during the season that they're open. And then that way there's always going to be fish to catch and eat, okay? How's that for an answer? Is that cool?
Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you.
Because we do like to promote it, man. Again, eat fish, man. It's good. And where we live at, people pay top dollar to go to a restaurant and purchase fish because it's one of those things that you don't want to take home and try to cook it yourself. So my TV show, I show you how to cook them. I have a slogan: do your taste buds a favor and season your catch. And if you don't like the way it came out when you cooked it, just put hot sauce. Hot sauce fixes everything, right? And one of the other things is just overcooking your fish. That's about the worst thing you could do, is cook it too long and it gets kind of dried out, okay? All right. So here we go. Let's go back to page 5 and 6. We're going to talk about beach cleanup, okay? Do you see how you have all these animals here on one side on page 6, but there's nothing on page 5? Yeah, who likes to hang out in their dirty bedroom? Anybody? You do? Okay, there's always one, right? 2 of them? Most people don't like to hang out in their dirty bedroom, right? And animals don't like to hang out in dirt either, okay? You guys listening? Right? So what happens is some of this litter can be mistaken for other sea creatures, and some sea creatures eat it. So like that plastic bag that floats through there, that can mimic a jellyfish, and some of the fish that eat jellyfish, like turtles and other things, can eat that and then choke on it. The other thing is that you have microplastics that break off of plastic that mimic things that look like little plankton, and then you have the other fish that eat those plankton, and then you're going to get to the small fish. So it's important that you don't litter, okay? Now this is the cool part about asking for help. You see these 2 birds right here? This is the pelican and the cormorant. They don't really get along that well sometimes, but sometimes they have to get along to eat. So if you're out in the ocean, you got to get all these little fish together. It's called a bait ball, right? The cormorant, they swim underwater. The pelicans up on top, and they drop in like missiles. You'll see them tomorrow. And they start pushing down the anchovies, while the cormorant push the anchovies to the surface. And they work together to get all those little fish together, right? That's what it looks like. It's called a bait ball. Now, this pelican will invade this cormorant's nesting site when they lay their babies and start eating their babies alive. So they don't have the best relationship. Now, the point I make with this is that sometimes we got to work with people that we don't want to work with. Sometimes you might have to ask for help from somebody in class. Maybe your teacher. And the reason I talk about help is because tomorrow you guys are going to need help. Tying your hooks, baiting them. So don't be shy to ask for help. If I didn't ask for help on how to get my book done, I still remembered I was that same kid that flunked the class right here and didn't ask for help. It took me to get like 28 years old to start asking for help and mentorship and development and tutors and stuff to help me write this book. So I just like to point that out, that sometimes we have to work together. Okay? Maybe you're really good at one thing and she's really good at something else, and you guys can collaborate and work together to get the job done. Okay? So that's what it is. And sometimes you're different, right? But they can still get along to make sure they get the job done, okay? So if you need any help with your school, you need any help with things going on at home, don't be afraid to ask for help, okay? Just like tomorrow. Mr. Kevin, I can't figure out how to cast this bait. Mr. Kevin, how do I tie on a hook? Mr. Kevin, how do I do that? And we're there to help you guys, okay? So that's a big important part. So again, you guys can color this in later and color it in. And we also do a beach cleanup in Port Hueneme. So if you ever want to come out and do a beach cleanup, it's always on every Saturday. You come around with little pickers and a bucket, and we do a little beach cleanup, and that's part of your stewardship, okay?
What happens if we see you?
You stop and say, what's up? You're like, hey, Kev, remember me? I'm like, of course, Wyatt, unforgettable, bro. How you doing today? Tell me a story, right?
How do you know my name?
I know everything. Community Kev, man, that's me.
What's my other name?
Waldo.
No.
I'm not supposed to tell nobody else, man. That's your low pro name, right?
It's Colin.
Colin? My
Colin.
nickname was Craig. Yeah, like, ain't you Craig? Yeah. They're like, ain't you Kevin from
Don't judge his name.
Yeah.
That's his name.
I was Craig from Texas. And they'd be like, ain't you Kevin from Miami? I'm like, no, I'm Craig from Texas.
Rated from
Chiquita Banana? We got the Chiquita Banana boats coming into our port. Maybe we'll see one. What's your name? What is it?
Starts with a cra.
Krusty?
What?
You said yes. Christina? That's my mom's name. Look, I got it tattooed right there. See, it says Christina. Yeah, I got my mom's name. It's my second
That's not how
tattoo.
I spell my name.
Okay.
What is her name?
Her name? I forgot. All right, so let's keep it moving, okay? Just want to make sure we have a little bit of fun in here, okay? All right, Wyatt?
All right.
How's that? Right? Because we're supposed to have fun, right? Just come up here to lecture and bore you guys. We've got to engage with each other. We're buddies. All right, so then you guys can fill in the blank next. Again, you guys can do this as something you guys could, you know what, take 2 minutes or a minute and go ahead and fill in the blanks for us real quick, okay? And then we'll let a couple of you guys read them out loud. You guys having fun yet? Good, wait till tomorrow. This is just the beginning. See you on fun tomorrow. I promise.
What's your name?
Her name? I don't know, she didn't tell me. All my guessing powers are left in the car.
That'll be my first day doing fishing.
First day of fishing. You guys been fishing before? You guys all coming tomorrow too?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I'm definitely going, yeah.
Yeah?
I really want to go fishing.
No? Yeah. So we're part of this, I do a lot of stuff in fisheries management to get more people fishing. So it's called recruitment, retention, and reactivate. So nobody recruits more people first-time fishermen than we do. But it's important. It can be intimidating, all that gear, you know. So we like to break it down and show, like clinic style, what to do.
You can see another event.
What's that?
You can see you another event.
Where? Probably. Yeah.
Excited will be Bell?
I get
I don't know. Red.
just events for the community resources.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I love it. Like I said, man, I grew up, man, I was in the system. I went to school, I lived in a foster home right here. So this school I got failed, so I do a lot of my giving back because I understand, you know. Plus I understand that intelligence isn't always based on academics, you know, creativity and artistic and other ways you can express and be an entrepreneur, you know, versus, you know, the college route. Nothing wrong with that. Like I went back to Oxnard College at 28
I did it.
for development, you know, and I understand that's a big important part of it.
You're filling in the blank right now?
Anybody done yet? Anybody done with their fill in the blank?
I don't know what.
You're done? You want to read your page or no? Come up here and read it for us.
Can I read it? Have you done a lot of Kiwanis as well, right?
What's up?
Kiwanis?
The Kiwanis Club?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I was there 2 weeks ago and they were talking about it.
Yeah.
Man, Kevin's everywhere.
Kevin's everywhere. Community Kevin, man. Told you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. What you guys, you guys finished it?
Anybody done? Anybody want to read it? We got 1 more minute, okay? 1 more minute. 1 more minute. 1 more minute.
The web page is an unofficial.
What do you mean? Let me see. Tuesday, maybe July.
Wait, let's see if we did. Let me try. Let me try. My slime.
I got we got about 15 more minutes. We're going to like 4:30. Is that cool?
Yeah, that's perfect.
I found
That's
all
the time that we have with them, so that's perfect. Yeah. Did you say cheat codes for fishing?
Yeah.
What are the cheat codes for fishing? I want to know
I
that.
won't tell you yet. We'll get to that part. Watch. We'll get to that.
Bronze page, black page.
So I think I'm gonna-
All right. Is anybody done? Anybody want to read it?
Yay, found the answers.
Yep. You know why? Because there's an answer for everything. That's why we put them back there. Now, if you want to cheat your way through, that's up to you. You want to cheat yourself, that's fine.
Yeah.
But the reason you do?
We
You
would.
do? No, you don't. Trust me, you don't. It's better to ask for help than cheat yourself, okay?
Yeah.
Because you're just cheating yourself.
I already saw.
All right, you ready? All right, let's go to the next page. It looks like. All right, you guys see the maze right there? All right, on the count of three. On the count of three, I want you to say, "I'm amazing." Okay? 1, 2, 3. I'm amazing. A little bit louder. 1, 2, 3. I'm amazing. You're not? There's always one.
Me too.
All right, well, I remember again, think about this, right? I'm telling you, when I went to school here and I got held back and flunked it, I felt like I wasn't amazing.
Yeah.
So to say you're not amazing and tell yourself that, you're poisoning your brain and your body to believe that you can't be amazing. So I'm going to help you reverse that. If you think you're not amazing, I want you to rethink that, okay? Because the last thing you want to do is plant your own, you think it's funny. You think you want to plant your own seeds of doubt in your own mind. It'll come back and get you later, okay?
It will, guys. Listen up. That's a really important life lesson. You
Yeah.
need to learn.
So what happens if you hit a wall? Do you quit? Do you give up?
Yeah.
All right, you need to sit down. You're just making noise right now, seriously. Okay?
Yeah, you can't give up.
You can't give up. So like tomorrow, right? When we go out there and you're going to want help, I'm just going to be like, oh, I'm acting silly around you now and you want my help, right? You want our attention. Like your little girl ain't amazing, right? Yeah, see, that would be cool, right? Oh, it wouldn't be. So again, I'm telling you this for a reason. Because if I let that doubt sink into my brain when I was younger, I wouldn't be up here teaching you guys living my dream. I get to live my dream. Look, I wear my own clothes. I got a camera guy with me. For a kid that couldn't read in 2nd grade and got held back in this classroom to be up here teaching, that took me a long time to tell me I was amazing. So that's why I tell you guys that today, okay? You're amazing. There might be something amazing that you love to do. Anybody have their favorite hobby or something that they love to do? Of course you do. What you got? Go ahead, let's hear it. Come on.
Puzzle.
Puzzles? I have my own puzzles. I got 4 of my own puzzles out there.
I finished all my next 1,000 pieces.
But there were
500.
there were easy
You?
puzzles.
Fishing.
Fishing? Good. I like that one.
And I also
You?
like how to fishing.
Ukulele? You gonna bring one tomorrow?
Yeah, you saw my girlfriend.
You don't have a little one you can bring for the pier tomorrow and get us a little roll anglers jam, a little guppy, some guppy cuts? No? Go ahead. Painting? You like painting? That's cool, man. So tomorrow, you might see something out there on the pier that you might want to paint. Come back and paint it. You can send it to us. We'll put it up in our guppy center. But my point is, if you have something that you love to do, that you want to be amazing at, don't ever quit. Don't give up. Just like this puzzle, right? You might hit a wall. You might get stuck somewhere. You might have to go back. Good. Right? So you're,
But
I
they
heard
were
you.
easy.
I heard you.
There were big pieces and then
Hey, but sometimes you got, hold on. Wait on. Wait, listen up. Why do you, look, if she got it done, she got it done. Sometimes you got to start with the small stuff before you get to the big stuff, right? Progression. I'm going to give you a fishing pole tomorrow, a little one. I'm like, look, it's small. Go ahead, figure it out. Day 1. Right? No, it takes time to figure it out. Why? We know you got capability, bro. We know you're not lacking any of that stuff. You're going to be my volunteer tomorrow. You're going to be wearing a Guppy shirt with a volunteer logo on the back.
I'm the cameraman.
And you want to be a cameraman. See? He got spunk. I like that. All right, so anyway, that's it. On the count of 3 again. I want you all to yell, I'm amazing. Ready? On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. I'm amazing. That's not even loud. That's not even loud. You got more energy than that. Ready? One more time. 1, 2, 3. I'm amazing. That's right. Remember that, okay? No matter what it is you do.
that watching the video.
That's right. All right, so let's go to the last page, okay? So again, where we live at tomorrow, you're going to be able to see probably, depending on the coverage, you're going to see the Anacapa Island. That's one of the coolest places. I go out there and work on boats 2 days. What you got?
In 5th grade, we're going to go on a field trip.
You get to go to Santa Cruz Island. That's the second island over. We might see Santa Cruz tomorrow, just depending on how much visibility. So if it's out there tomorrow, we'll take a look, okay? There's a lot of heritage out in these islands. The Chumash lived here for like 15,000 years thriving. You know what that means? Like they weren't just surviving like some history likes to say, like they were just getting by. Man, they had it locked down, man. So much fish to eat. They knew the currents, the weather patterns. You just don't sit somewhere for 15,000 years struggling. Anybody guys ever struggle? That's not where you get stuck at. But anyway, Santa Cruz Island, when you get out there, it's a lot of like Native American history and stuff out there in this area. But again, this right here tells you again about the area that we live at with the different currents that come through and where we live. That makes it such a place for people to come out and do scuba diving. People come out here on travel on boats. People come out here to make film. There's so much that goes on in our backyard, and it's right here, again, 9 miles off the coast, okay? If you look at this little QR code on the bottom, if you guys have devices, you can scan that, and that'll take you to our YouTube channel. There's a video that actually goes along with this book to kind of showcase what we're going to do tomorrow. You guys can check that out when you guys get home, okay? All right, and then the last one, okay? We're going to wrap it up with this, and we'll do some questions, okay?
Okay.
So there are guys listening up. This is one of those life lessons, all right? So if you look on the back, there is answers right here. We did put them in there because there is an answer. If you get stuck, like you want to be a painter, you said, right? So I do photography. I wake up in the morning, I'm on the boat, I get these pictures of the sunrise that are beautiful, right? And I post them on Facebook. And somebody was like, hey man, I'd buy that picture from you. I didn't know where to get frames right. I didn't know where to get mats at. Again, there was an answer out there. Once I learned how to get the right answers, I was able to accomplish the things that I wanted, okay? So again, you guys see all these here? There's always going to be an answer. Just don't be afraid to ask for it. Don't try to cheat your way through it. If you get stuck somewhere like fishing, problem solving, team building, things that you're going to need to be successful. What are you guys, 4th and 5th graders? And this is why it's important for you guys right now, because as you get to the next level of school, trying to be the cool kid and not reveal that you got to struggle somewhere is where it's going to kick in. And if you guys don't have the confidence right now, like you're going to learn confidence tomorrow, how to cast a fishing pole, how to put the bait on your hook, you might catch a fish. Like, wow, look at this one confidence. Turns into another confidence. Now you start building confidence. But you're going to get to that age right now where being cool, not asking for help, and holding things in is going to get you. And don't let that happen. Again, it took me to 28 years old to go back to school. To be like, look, man, I need some help with this. Raise my hand and say, hey, you know, I kind of struggle right here because when you guys help me, people are more than willing to help you. Your teachers, right? Your classmates, your coaches. So don't be afraid to ask for help, okay? And again, think you're amazing. If you got a dream or a vision, look where I'm at. Man, I got a camera guy, a TV show syndicated across America, all with a kid that couldn't read, coming from a foster care family, living on the avenue right here where you guys live at. For real, that's important. I'm gonna think I'll get my little tears up. But anything is possible. But you got to tell yourself you're amazing. You got to build some confidences. You got to be willing to work with other people. Sometimes people you don't like to work with. You got to be responsible, like when you're fishing with those fish. Responsible for your homework. Responsible for your bedroom. Responsible for the things that you can control. Like tomorrow, when you're fishing, you get to control where you get to cast at, where you get to fish at. You're in control of what bait you get to use. And we're going to give you that confidence that you guys can problem solve and figure that out. And then you're going to catch a fish and be like, oh my God, I caught one. First one ever. Never going to lose that. You remember it for the rest of your life. Okay? There will be some crab net pulling tomorrow. We have an aquarium, so you get to pull crab nets. You get to touch them. We're not going to let anything bad happen to you. So if we say, here, hold this crab, I promise you, well, for the most part, I won't pinch you. But there are a couple ones that are, there's a couple that are mean, like the spider crab and the swimmer crab's real mean. But if you hold it properly, it's fine. And that's another thing we're going to show you. Sometimes we're afraid, the fears that we have of something that's so small that's never even going to hurt you, but you're just scared. So when you hold that crab, like, oh my God, Kev, get it, oh my God, ah! And it's like, doesn't even do anything. It's more afraid of you than you are of it. And that's just how life's going to be too sometimes, right? Don't let those fears stop you. So that's what tomorrow's going to do too. If we were like the scouts, you'd leave with all kinds of badges and patches. We're like, yeah, man, I'm confident now. I ain't got no fear, yada, yada. But we don't do that. We just try to have an impression on you so that you guys could overcome some of that, work together, you know, see some cool things. And then one day maybe you want to be a fisherman, or maybe one day you want to be in the videos, or maybe one day you were going to take your photography somewhere, your painting, you know? So if we could just instill some of that in you with my story and starting tomorrow, that's what we're going to do. Well, actually starting today. Who has any questions? What else you got? Wyatt, I know, I already knew it. Come on. Come on up here. Come on, let's hear for Wyatt again. Come on. Get up for Wyatt right
No.
So, man, what's going on?
So, I want to bless you for joining us, because if you want to join us, you can probably become a master fisher, and you probably have to learn that you know that you need some right materials to fish. Don't never use the wrong materials. I believe in you.
Be prepared. Good job.
Yep.
That was great.
Anybody else? What do you got? I know you got some ukulele. No questions or anything?
No questions?
You?
No.
Come on.
No.
What do you got? Nothing?
Fine.
Okay, you? Nothing else? You? You?
You said you were pulling out crab.
Yeah.
Also get to keep those.
Depending. So if we catch like the rock crab and they're of a certain size, you can keep it. Spider crabs you can keep. The slender crabs don't get very big, so not a lot of meat. And the swimmer crabs only get about this big. But again, if they're the right size limit and you want to take them home and boil them, we got a video on YouTube for that too. Yeah. We tell them we're going to release these ones into hot butter. Yeah. Yeah. Melted butter. You have any questions?
Yeah. Just like a little cooler. For fish or anything.
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
Because I only have a big one.
Yeah.
I don't want to be carrying it.
I think Wyatt could carry it. All that energy on Wyatt.
Yeah, he wants to.
You have any questions? Yeah, you can bring a cooler. If you want to. Bring a little cart.
I'll take one embarrassing question, okay?
Bring it if you want. Sir?
What should we expect going out first thing in the morning? As
Oh.
far as being prepared, as far as if we're going to see any other
Okay.
fishing, what should we expect going there first thing?
All right, what you should expect is a hands-on educational experience, meaning if you're squirmish and you're afraid to touch any of the hooks and bait, then you might want to stay on tomorrow, because we don't do everything for you. So you got to expect to kind of get your hands dirty, you know, and give everything a try. You can expect that maybe you might not catch something. That's why our book's called Catch a Memory, Not a Monster. So like, oh my God, I didn't catch. You could have, and this is another kind of a life lesson, you could have the perfect bait, you could have the perfect water conditions, and the fish just don't want to eat. So maybe it's just not your day to catch one, but then you got to come back and try it again. You could expect to see birds, beautiful weather, the smell of the ocean, sea lions. You can expect to catch memories, you know. It's for everybody catching a fish, hopefully, but we'll see, you know. That's what you can expect. You can expect to have a great time. Again, something about just being on the water, man. We call it vitamin C, SEA, and it's just something that's kind of therapeutic and fun and cool, okay? Anybody else? Any other questions? Hold on, Wyatt. We'll get back to you.
Okay.
Do you have a question?
You have any questions or anything? Nope. You? You, buddy?
Did you have a question?
What's that? Depending on how much line is on there, we cast. I always laugh. I could probably hit Malibu from the pier because I cast good, like. But you just cast a little ways off the pier, or you might just drop it straight down. But again, you get a chance tomorrow to figure that out. That's part of it. Do you want to fish into the pier? Do you want to fish by the surf? Do you want to drop it between the pylons? Just make sure the current doesn't wrap up your line up into the pier. You know, you get a chance to kind of, again, you're going to be able to have the freedom to try different methods. That's kind of the fun part. Well, it depends on whose fault it is. If you're irresponsible and you just hook them, then it's your fault. And whatever comes of that consequence is up, I don't know. But if somebody's swimming and swims into your line and, you know, you get surfers out there, well, I live there, so I don't have this issue. But, you know, it's like you have to respect other people's stuff, right? So if there are a bunch of surfers right here, we're probably not going to fish where might come in contact. We may stay outside of them, right? But if you accidentally hook somebody or they swim through your line or something like that, again, you just kind of look at the you know, we got to respect each other's space. So if they intentionally go into the line and get hooked, that's their fault. If you hook them on purpose because you're being irresponsible, that's your fault. So we try to make sure we just respect everybody's space and safety, okay? It doesn't happen all that often, never that I've seen.
How much subscribers do you have?
A couple thousand.
Wait, so if we break
You could go subscribe, bro. We need subscribers, so get over to that.
Subscribe.
All right, subscribe. High five from here.
Like and subscribe.
High five. Boom. Oh,
I'll
you too, White?
subscribe.
All right.
So I'll rather.
Can you subscribe under both your aliases?
I'll try sneaking up and subscribe to your channel with all my family.
That's what's up, brother. Yeah, love that advocacy commitment.
Real MVP, White.
Yeah. You have a question?
Yeah, I was going to ask our students, how many of you thought that we would have the opportunity to go fishing during summer school? Raise your hand if you thought we would go fishing during summer school. No, I didn't think so. So the cool part is when we all go back to our schools, we can share with our friends and our students and our teachers, hey, I got to go fishing during school.
I got to hang out with Kevin, Community Kev, and I'm a Guppy Ranger.
Yeah, and if you want to check out the videos that we've kind of been looking at, you can like and subscribe.
Yep. Again, there's a QR code, made it real easy for you guys. Right in the back, just scan it, go to the tube. Wow, look at Kev. Yeah, we just put up a video of us at the Channel Islands catching barracuda and bass. And we talk about things like, you know, sustainable fishing practices. There's a shorter video how to cook barracuda that you could kind of use for any type of fish.
All right.
And we did one with veterans and another kid day. So there's plenty of videos, like over 100 videos you could check out.
Nice.
All right, last question.
I was asking, how many views do you have?
How many what?
How many videos do you
Oh, over 100. Over 100s. Yep. But I've been doing this for like 10 years, man. It takes a lot of time. You can see my old videos. I first learned how to use audio and music in there. And you're like, wow, look at that. You know, I'm like, now I'm a filmmaker. I'm like, oh, I was on that shot for too long. But I call them grandma's demos, man. You know, if you ain't pushing demos out in your grandma's basement, get your repetitions. And when Dre calls you, you ain't gonna be ready. So you gotta get your reps in, man. You gotta get your grandma's demos.
Let's go.
Are you gonna be posting this?
Once we're done, we're gonna post it. We're gonna share it. But it's kind of small because we didn't get all the permission from everybody. So we'll post it, but you won't see very much of you guys. Tomorrow might be the size of you guys just because of state school restrictions. But, you know. Sound good? Is that a wrap, Carlos? That's a wrap. Say it.